Hi, and welcome to episode 1 of Spooky Tales, a series of short horror stories written, posted, and or generated by other fright enjoyers like me, where I'll be diving into the shallow ends of Reddit's creepy story threads. But on a quick note, any of the following stories that I do narrate will have their respective links and credit provided in the description below, unless they were AI generated, such as tonight's story. Anyway, thank you for listening to my short yap. So go ahead and grab a pair of Bose headphones and I don't know, a family-sized bag of garden salsa flavored sun chips and enjoy. I'm also not sponsored or affiliated. Thank you. Hi, I just wanted to reiterate this, because my spidey senses were tingling. I am not affiliated with Bose or Sun Chips, nor am I sponsored by them. Thank you. Sorry, quick PSA. If there is background noise, I'm so sorry, because I still don't know how to fix that, and I appreciate your patience, so thank you. Let's dive into episode 1, The Reflection. Sarah had never been a fan of mirrors. Something about the way her reflection stared back at her made her uneasy. It was as if, deep down, she suspected that the image in the glass might have a mind of its own, lurking just behind her own likeness. It was a rainy October evening when Sarah moved into her new apartment. The place was old, its walls creaking with age, and the scent of damp wood lingered in every room. Still, she liked the charm of it, the high ceilings, the rustic floorboards, the large antique mirror that hung in the hallway. The mirror was kind of, something you couldn't ignore. Tall, framed in ornate gold, with glass so pristine it almost seemed to glow in the dim light of the hallway. Its presence felt commanding, even oppressive. That night she settled in, unpacking boxes while the wind howled outside. Every once in a while she'd glance at the mirror as she passed by. Each time she'd catch a flicker of movement that made her heart skip. She brushed it off, convinced it was her imagination, reflections playing tricks in the dim light. But still, there was something unnerving about it, the way her image seemed to linger just a second too long after she looked away. As the evening wore on, exhaustion set in. Sarah yawned and stretched, her back aching from unpacking. She made her way to the bathroom to get ready for bed, and as she brushed her teeth, she noticed the mirror in the hallway behind her, just barely visible in the bathroom's reflection. Her eyes flicked between the mirror in front of her and the one behind. Something wasn't right. Her reflection in the hallway was standing still, staring directly at her, even as she moved. It was subtle, but unmistakable. Her reflection in the hallway wasn't mimicking her. It was watching her. She froze, toothbrush halfway to her mouth, her pulse pounding in her ears. Slowly, she turned around to face the hallway. The figure in the mirror was now perfectly aligned with her movements, arms at her side, blank eyes staring back. Sarah forced a shaky laugh, telling herself she was overtired. Mirrors don't watch people, they reflect. She turned back to the bathroom mirror, but the moment she looked away from the hallway mirror, she felt it again. The distinct sensation of eyes on her back. Heart racing, she turned back. The reflection still stood there, mirroring her every movement, but something was different. The smile. Her reflection had begun to smile. It was a cold, creeping grin that twisted unnaturally across its face. Sarah's breath hitched in her throat. She wasn't smiling, so why was it? Frozen with fear, she stared at the thing in the glass. Its grin widened, stretching too far across its face, the skin pulling tight around its eyes until it looked almost grotesque, like a doll's face breaking. Sarah couldn't move. She felt trapped in its gaze, paralyzed by the wrongness of it all. Suddenly, the reflection raised its hand. Sarah's arm stayed at her side, motionless, but her reflection waved. The movement was slow and deliberate, as though mocking her. Sarah stumbled back, her body trembling with adrenaline. She turned to run, but before she could take a step, the lights flickered. Then darkness swallowed the apartment. The only sound was her rapid breathing and the faint rustle of the wind outside. Panic surged through her. She felt for her phone, but her fingers were trembling too much to find it. She glanced over her shoulder at the hallway. In the brief flashes of light from the storm outside, she saw it. The reflection was no longer confined to the glass. It was stepping out. Sarah screamed and bolted into her bedroom, slamming the door behind her. Her hands fumbled with the lock, and once it clicked into place, she pressed her back against the door, panting. She listened, her ears straining for any sound, any hint that the thing had followed her. The silence was deafening. For a moment she thought she had imagined it all. Maybe it was just the stress of moving, the exhaustion, the shadows playing tricks on her mind. She dared to hope. Then she heard it, a soft, deliberate knock, 3 taps on the other side of the door. A voice called out, low and raspy.
Sarah, can't leave.
It was her voice. Trembling, she backed away from the door, her heart pounding in her chest. The door creaked open slowly, and standing there, grinning that awful, twisted grin, was her reflection, filled with malice that Sarah had never known. Before she could scream, it stepped forward and whispered,
Your God can't help you here.
The lights flickered back on, but by then, the hallway was empty. The only thing left was the mirror, and in its glass, the apartment stood still and quiet, except for the faintest trace of a smile lingering in the reflection.